All right, so it's January 18th at 5:32 p.m. The Traffic Safety Advisory Committee is holding their monthly meeting. We do have a quorum, correct? 1, 2, 3, 4, enough people, right? All right. All right, so the first item on here is approval of minutes. Did everybody get the November 10th minutes?
Yeah, I'll move the minutes for, it's 5 meetings, isn't it?
Yeah, total.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll move the minutes for all 5 of the meetings.
Second. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? None? Okay. All right. So parking regulations. Does everybody have a copy of the parking regulations?
Yep.
Any discussion on these parking regulations? I can't see if there's anybody out there besides us. Is there anybody else on? Nobody else is on, huh?
No, just the images, and I'm not sure if you can see them all across the top of the screen, but you've got Fred, yourself, Tim Wheeler, and Fire Chief Clark. So there's 4 of you present and voting.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I thought after last month's meeting, we actually probably have at least a half dozen people we could kind of tell them about this last meeting and ask them to attend, especially Carterville, because a lot of these regulations do affect Carterville.
Do you want to talk a little bit about the enforcement of the part where parking on sidewalks isn't allowed? I understand completely why we've saying that, but can we realistically enforce that in Carterville from your perspective?
So I think obviously when we say park upon a sidewalk, everybody envisions in their mind driving up over a granite curb and parking on a sidewalk. I don't think people envision parking on the side of a road is the sidewalk.
Right.
I think it would be a very difficult thing for us to enforce. Obviously, in our line of work, there's things we can do. There's things that we should do.
So would it be helpful if I was to make a motion that said that we understood as a committee that you would not be enforcing this regulation if it happened to be that area that we think of as a sidewalk, but technically doesn't meet what your criteria for a sidewalk would be? Would that help you when you didn't?
Yeah, I mean, it's not the criteria, it's the perception. It's not perceived as a sidewalk.
Right.
I'm not sure how anybody else thinks. I can sit here and say that, but there's 18 others or 19 others here that may see it differently.
So
there's some way we could do an exemption for Carterville,
So Carterville from Walnut to Highland, is that?
Yeah, I mean, to me, the sidewalk is really only in front of up to like Petards, and then after Petards, it disappears, becomes the roadway.
But in terms of, rather than specifying individual houses, simply saying Walnut Street to Highland, we wouldn't be enforcing this unless it was a completely out of the ordinary situation or something like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the legal language would be, but
I'm trying to give you an opportunity to say to your force, the advisory committee is supportive of you not having to enforce this in that stretch of Carterville.
Yeah, I mean, I have no issues saying it, I would hope that everybody would follow suit. I believe 100% would follow suit, as of today. But as you know, things change with police department or personnel for every organization. You know, I completely understand, and I almost like want to just strike B completely out of there. I mean, where else would we worry about people parking on sidewalks in the town of Berlin?
Is there a definition in town regulations that would define like a raised berm, like a granite hot top, something like that, that you could go by that would take the heat off and would fall into an existing definition, and that doesn't meet that?
Hmm.
That's a good question.
Well, let's say that I mean, years ago, I used to go to Bergen's when they lived in the house there next to the graveyard, and I'd park on occasion if I was slipping in to deliver something real fast right in front of the graveyard on what I would say would probably be the sidewalk. And
Yeah,
you can do it there.
Yeah, that was before Berlin did their anniversary parade, because I know they did all the sidewalks over. If you did that today, you would probably hit 5 times.
Do some damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah, then we have South Street all the way down, you know, down to the school there.
Yeah.
You know, trying to think where else, you know, really it's the center of town, the sidewalks are the issue.
Well, I mean, if you think it would help, I'll make a motion that would sort of clarify that we're not going to enforce this in Carterville from Walnut to Highland. I mean, if you want, if you don't think you need it, that's fine. We don't need to encumber things.
But I mean, how about if we just change it, you know, upon a sidewalk that's clearly marked? I mean, you know, I mean, to me, a marked sidewalk would be the berm, you know, the raised elevation. I mean, you know, maybe we can just, you know, take the sidewalk piece and actually define a sidewalk, you know.
Sure.
You know,
That's even clearer,
on a
right?
raised elevated sidewalk.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
that would actually include in front of the store as well, wouldn't it? 'Cause the
Pretty good.
sidewalk ends at James, right?
Right.
Yeah,
That would include in front of the store as well, taking those 3 or 4 parking spaces away as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess what do we have to make a motion to change B? Section B. That says upon a raised elevated sidewalk.
Now, because you've raised this question about that stretch in front of the store, in the long run, if you really were to improve a sidewalk through there, would we be raising the curb all the way in front of the store itself, not the parking lot, but the store?
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be a question for Freddie. I mean, I'm pretty sure to meet the code.
yeah, actually, that would be a good idea because we did get those. what do you call it?
That's behind Abby. That's where that radio is.
Oh, sorry.
She listens to it all day and just ignores it.
I don't even hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that actually wouldn't be a bad idea because we do still have to put up the new traffic, the crosswalk signs, the ones
Right.
that you have to actuate with the battery, with the button. And we are gonna have to put them basically out in the roadway some, because of the base and everything like that. That was gonna be one of our things because we're gonna have to do it on the opposite side too, near the telephone pole.
Right.
Would have to be like an island that came out and then just kind of went back in, almost like High Street in Clinton.
Mhm.
So it actually wouldn't be a bad idea to just continue the sidewalk up to the store. So
And
it
that
really-
is going to impact the store in terms of their ability to have people park there. But I
Right.
mean, and we're trying to create we're trying to create sidewalks for pedestrians to access the store safely. So that's the trade-off, I guess, right?
Right. Well,
Okay,
they could always park on Carter Street and walk
Yeah.
across the street.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think, obviously, if we just change it over to upon a raised elevated sidewalk, I think that would cover us. And that way we wouldn't just section out, Carterville, because who knows what's gonna happen in the next few years with the building going on.
okay, and then the next question is, do people park on the street overnight in Carterville?
Usually every car is pretty well off the road. I mean, I don't think, what about the last storms, Freddie? No issues, right?
Yeah, no, the only ones that really park near the street are like that red Mustang and the Petard old house. But that's because they have limited parking and they have like one spot. But they are completely off the road.
Okay. Good.
Right.
Those are the two things I saw that I just wondered how you'd feel comfortable about enforcing them, so.
Well, here's a quick question, since the cemetery was brought up. There's obviously no way you can park up on that sidewalk now, but there's still a no parking sign in the cemetery. Any objections? We're taking that out to get rid of some sign pollution.
Good idea.
Well, not only sign pollution, but we can recycle it in another area.
Exactly. Well, it might not be code now, but
Yeah,
we definitely have an extra.
it's definitely Berlin code.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so as far as B, somebody want to make a motion? Do we make a motion to change it upon a raised elevated sidewalk?
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
Anybody want
I
to
can
second?
second that.
All right, all those in favor of changing B to upon a raised elevated sidewalk, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? All right, ayes have it. C, upon or within 10 feet of a crosswalk, we kind of run into that issue. We may have to change the no parking area in front of the store, because I think that we can come pretty close to parking right before the crosswalk at the store, if my memory serves me correct. But I've got no issue with that, keeping a 10-foot clearance from the crosswalk. Everybody else agree?
Hmm. Yeah.
All right, D, I think this is more of Freddie's thing. Upon any street or highway, upon accumulation of 2 inches of snow and until 24 hours after the snowfall has ceased.
Yeah, that was actually new. I didn't know that existed. The only one that we were always aware of was like the nighttime parking ban that
Yeah.
basically went from 11 at night to, I think it was 6 in the morning. Is the only one that we were aware of. Anything during the day, because we actually encounter that almost on a daily basis on Baker Road. There's one house that always has 2 cars in the street and an empty driveway. But during the day when we have storms, we just like plow around them because, we didn't think there was anything in place for a daytime storm. So this would actually, it might help out, it might not. But the nighttime one is definitely big for us because, it's tough to raise people at night. Whereas if they see you go by, they'd like to think they'd come out and move their car out of your way. Yeah, because we usually start plowing anywhere around 3 inches in the street or a parking lot. So anything up to that would probably be beneficial.
Right. All right, section E, pretty self-explanatory. I think this mostly is for River Road, part of River Bridge. I don't know anywhere else we ever set our division strip or island. But I've got no issues with it. Anybody else have any comments on it?
No.
All right. Section F, upon a roadway where parking is permitted unless both wheels on the right side of the vehicle are within 12 inches of the curb or edge of the roadway, except on those streets that are designated as one-way streets. On such one-way streets, vehicles shall be parked in the direction of permitted travel with both wheels within 12 inches of the curb or the edge of the roadway. I think that was pretty much, I think that's a template. No matter where you go in the city, so you got to park within 12 inches of the curb.
Yeah.
Any discussion on that or? next?
Does there need to be some mention of diagonal parking? I mean, we expect people to park in front, alongside the church diagonally, right? So do we provide for the the manner in which
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say, it should say the wheels are within 12 inches of the curb. Then we know that the front wheels, the front right wheel will be within 12 inches. Yeah, I mean, that's a tricky area, and I know
right?
it was a year and a half ago, they did the traffic study in that area and tried to reroute, and it is pretty tight in there. I'm sure that's one thing we're gonna have to cross paths with in the future, is how far those diagonal spots really can go down.
Mhm.
Because once you get down, spots, pretty narrow, even for those. Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think, like, F for what it is correct, but I think that, down the road, we're gonna have to visit that diagonal parking issue. I mean, I'm not sure, how do you feel? Freddie, how wide does the road have to be? Is it 21 feet or 22 feet?
Yeah, well, I don't know what that rotary up there measures. I'm sure we have it written down somewhere. But the only one-way street we have in town is actually down by the cemetery. So we wouldn't have to worry about the one-way parking. What would be the objection? Well, we're actually making that section of road, what would it have, the one-way going in the direction of the parking? Like, was there a lot of bad feedback from when the traffic study was done from the residents on that strip?
But I think the one way was actually south and not north, so it'd be pretty near impossible to, actually, no, that was a two-way, wasn't it? No, it was a one-way?
Yeah, that was a one-way.
So what happened was, because we were trying to make Carter one way,
Yeah,
Woodard had to be one way going from the library to 62.
Mhm.
But because we're not moving forward with Carter becoming one way, because people really said, I come in there with that's where I need to park my truck and my trailer, because I can't park in front of the store, and you don't want to begin to interfere with trade at the store through denying me the access. So we said, okay, that's a good point, and that was one of the points that was raised at this forum we had. But that didn't really preclude the opportunity to deal with making Woodard Avenue one way. But we could look at it one way from either direction. So I think it's still something to think about. I know Buster years ago really thought that made a lot of sense. And I think it does, because it really allows you to continue to diagonally park there. Where you try to have two-way traffic and diagonally park, it's like you're saying, it's not safe. So that's something we should just probably continue to think about a little more and float the idea out to the public and see what the response would be.
yeah, well, I mean, the town paints those diagonal parking lines, correct?
Yeah, we do.
So, I mean, if we come up with these parking regulations, I envision that if these do pass and go through, that we're gonna take out those diagonal parking lines, and we're gonna end up doing parallel parking all along, all around the church, versus diagonal on each side. They're gonna have to park parallel all around the church. And that would open up the roadway and probably give us the footage, because it does say that that we need to give one of these an H. It says, upon any roadway where the parking of a vehicle will not leave a clear unobstructed lane at least 10 feet wide for passing traffic. I think we may come pretty close to running to an issue towards the end of Woodward near Carter. So, that could also be a discussion in the future too, is repainting that just for all parallel parking.
Yeah, the only downfall would be you lose a lot more spots.
Yeah,
Because the average car is like 16 feet.
yeah,
So you may lose some there.
yeah. Yeah, we'll have to measure out that last, the last couple spots. We may end up losing 2 or 3 spots at the end, depending on, if this H passes. We have to leave the 10 feet for passing traffic. So. All right. Let's go up to G. Now, are there any more discussion on the parking within 12 inches of curb? We talk any more about that? No? No interest? All right. We'll go up to G. On the roadway side of any vehicle stopped or parked at the edge of a curb of a street in such a manner as to constitute double line or multiple line parking. I've been a cop in Berlin for 27 years. No idea. That's a foreign language to me, what they're saying there. Sounds like more of a city ordinance. The roadway side of any vehicle stopped or parked.
Would that almost be like double parking
I think
Like
parking on
lane
each side of the street, yeah.
or two cars side by side on the same side?
Yeah, two cars side by side, or like, say, I hate to use Carterville, but up in Carterville, somebody parked on each side and then left a narrow lane. But stopped or parked. Okay, all right, yeah, multiple line park. Oh, yeah, no, yeah, I guess it would be double parked. Yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense. Anybody want to talk about that or skip on the next one?
No, I'm
Yeah,
good.
that's fine.
All right. Right, and this is where we talked about H, upon any roadway where parking of a vehicle will not leave a clear and unobstructed lane at least 10 feet wide for passing traffic. I think the only place we may run into that is maybe the last couple spots on Woodward. I really can't think of anywhere else that would happen. I, upon any street or highway within 10 feet of a fire hydrant. Because we have is dry hydrants in town. I can't really think of too many spots where you could park within 10 feet of hydrant, except for at the church, but that hydrant's been painted black since the day I started, which means it's dead, right? Is that what that signifies? The fire hydrant's painted black, that it's dead?
Yeah, the only place I think we'll ever encounter that is down at the ball fields. Because people do park when they're down there fishing, playing tennis, whatever, right in front
Oh,
of
yeah,
them.
yeah, the dry hydrant, or not the dry, yeah, the dry hydrant, yeah.
Yeah.
You're on mute, chief.
We also have hydrants in apartments on Route West in there, so that falls
So-
within that definition.
Yeah, but would we also be able to enforce parking regulations on private property?
Okay, that,
No.
good point. Tim.
Yeah, that's one thing we can do. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think we want a situation where we can start going down to Rockwell and writing parking tickets.
Are some of these actual state regulations? Because I remember going through driving school and they told you can't park within 10 feet of an intersection. You can't park within 10 feet of a fire hydrant.
Yeah, I believe that all these came from Chief Galvin, and I think he took them off of other cities and towns. All right. Upon or in front of any private road or driveway without the consent of the owner of said private road or driveway. I think that's kind of common sense. I got no issues with that whatsoever. Anybody have any issues with that one? No. All right, let's move on to the penalties for parking violations. Rather than going through each one, how do people feel about the penalties for group A, B, C, and D? Everybody good with the fines that have been established in this?
Yeah, they look fine to me.
Okay. All right. All right, so I guess we're gonna accept the parking regulations tonight, or do you want to wait till the next meeting for future discussion, or give people a chance? I mean, there's nobody out there in the audience that wants to speak on it.
I'd say if people may very well come and watch this at some later time? I mean, let's vote on it the next time. It's not going to kill us, is it, if we just wait? And that gives people a chance to comment if they choose to, at least. Some
Yeah, I
folks
mean,
may very well
that's-
take it, the chance to
that-
look at this.
That's why I thought after the last meeting, we'd have quite a few attendees tonight.
Yeah.
Listening in and chiming in. I think, we've spoken on behalf of a lot of residents. Just hearing their concerns in the past and not necessarily having them on tonight, but I think that's definitely a good move to wait till next month to approve them. And then there's still a potential that we still have to order parking tickets as well and set up a whole hearings aspect of it. Parking clerk. Do we even have a parking clerk yet? We haven't appointed a parking clerk, have we? Not that I know of. Okay. All right. So I guess we'll move on. Unless there's any further discussion on this. We'll table this till next month for the vote. Do we have to have a motion for that? Motion to table it for one more month?
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I,
Opposed? Okay, this to be tabled till next month for a vote. All right, traffic safety updates. Well, I guess I'll talk about, we put up the speed signs a few weeks ago. We've changed the batteries a couple times. I did try to download via Bluetooth, but I have a feeling that the laptop that Chief Galvin turned over to me may not be adequate enough to do a mobile Bluetooth connection. So I wasn't able to get the data today, but I am going to call the company first thing in the morning to find out if there's another avenue or something I'm missing. But I know Miss Porter has had a sign out for her house. I just didn't know if it was actually working. If you notice a difference. Yeah. On mute.
Sorry, there we go. I know I'm on mute. It helps with the southbound traffic, but not the northbound.
Yeah, so I have one sitting right in front of me that's going to go on the northbound, but weather, between me going on vacation and the weather not cooperating to put it up, I have it sitting on the dolly ready to go out tomorrow. And that's going to go in the northbound, somewhere close to the library or just past the library.
Yeah.
And then hopefully, like I said, I can talk to tech support from the speed sign company and figure out if it's the laptop or if it's user error. So I'm hoping it's user error and not the laptop.
That would be good.
Yeah. The only question I did get from people is that it doesn't display a speed. It just says slow down. Not sure, obviously, I'm not a big social media person, but I've seen a lot of memes out there with people seeing how fast they can get the sign to read. So I figured if it doesn't read a high speed and is something reasonable, then we don't have to worry about making TikTok or Snapchat of people getting competitions of getting the highest score on Highland Street and in Carterville.
Hey, I told you I hit 13 miles an hour on my bicycle, and
Yeah.
that was only from Schaefer's driveway. I haven't tried it from Brewers or further up the hill yet. It's too cold.
Yeah. Like I said, I've got a lot of comments on the one in the center of town as well on 62 at Pleasant Street. But yeah, the biggest comment I get is what it didn't read my speed. I'm like, well, first of all, it's not a good thing because the parameters are set pretty, not high, but high enough. Basically just slow down. So.
And sorry, I was on a call. I couldn't join until now, and sorry about that, but people that I've spoken to in the neighborhood are happy that the speed sign is up.
Yeah, like I said, hopefully tomorrow I can connect. Unfortunately, I had this is my third meeting today, and yesterday was a holiday. So, and going out there at 0 degrees or 4 degrees, dealing with metal straps and 8 feet up in the air was not the top priority.
Whatever you do, don't stick your tongue on it.
Yeah. All right, anybody else have any traffic safety updates? And we'll move on to pedestrian and vehicular infrastructure updates. Anything from Freddie?
The only thing, we're still waiting to get a quote back from VHB, but Seacoast Drilling has reached out to me to find out what we needed for permits or details or anything like that, because they have to do 2 test bores down on South Street. I told them, given the size of their truck, and I've done it in the past for the guardrail work, that we'll just close that section of the road off and give it to them for the day, so that way they can just move about and do what they have to do. We are gonna forego the bond because it's a town project, and they're only gonna be boring 4-inch holes, 1 on each side of the bridge to get that going. And that's basically where we're at on that one. Margaret and I did meet up with the Senni brothers for the project down there on River Road regarding their bridge and their whole thing. I can give you a little bit of what we talked about down there. They're still working off a quote that they got back in 2010 for a wooden structure, just as the light pedestrian bridge. And that was through a company called York Bridge. They've also worked with Wheeler Bridge. They want to try to make it the best they can because I haven't seen the write-up, but they were saying that they're responsible for maintaining it, which is going to be perfect. I don't know how long that goes for, but it'd be great if they did. The idea is that they want to go with like a contact bridge, where if anyone's gone down Whitney Street down by the old candle factory, they do have one of those contact pedestrian bridges. So that's kind of what it's going to be looking like there. But I do have a site walkthrough with them on the 21st. Our engineers, oh my God, I can't think of his name, but Olivia, God, I can't remember his name. There's 3 of them that are going to be coming. He's going to bring out a new guy, Greg, who basically might be doing their project down there. They are working with their own company called Waterman, but that's for the design only for the bridge. The site work is going to be done by Comley, who has been doing all their site work along the way. So they talked just a little bit about that, and then the work they've already done for the sidewalks for their upkeep and their improvement that they have to maintain. So that's all we've got there, and I'm still waiting to hear back for our estimates for South Street so far. Yeah, that's it on that one. We did get a sign request. Did everyone receive that I included? I sent out, okay, perfect. I did take a ride up there earlier today, and I did look at the sign placement. It is really kind of weird because it's 20 miles an hour just before the railroad tracks when you cross over. And the 45-mile-an-hour sign is at their driveway, which isn't quite at the top of the hill. There is room to move it. I wrote something down. You could actually do it just past Lincoln Road, which is at the crest of the hill at the end of a section of guardrail, where the road basically does open up as a slight downhill grade. But like visibility wise, even coming up over the hill would be better. And I can stand them, understand their safety concern. And also coming back into town, there is no speed limit drop other than from 45 right to 20. And that 20 is right in front of their house. So they got people coming up to that sign probably still doing 45 miles an hour. So I could definitely justify moving that sign back. But again, I think I have to reach out to MassDOT because it's the state road as to whether or not we can just start moving signs, changing signs. And again, what I got to do is actually photocopy these and give these all to you guys. What it is, these are those papers. I actually made a copy and gave them to the selectmen to see if they wanted to update them because it has Route 62 eastbound listed from the Clinton Town line clear through to Hudson. and then vice versa as to where the speed limits start, how long they run for. But this one was dated April 13th of 1967. And it's weird, just looking at it, I haven't actually gone down and started one at the town to confirm these are all the same ones. Because it's weird that it goes from 45 right to 20 and then jumps right back to 45. Not knowing the mile markers as to where they are. So maybe these can be updated and we can move them, but I wouldn't have a problem moving the signs. Because she does have a legitimate like concern with it.
Now, let me ask you this, 1967 was 62 West Street at that time? Or was it Pedestrian Road in 1967?
They were actually termed as Route 62 eastbound and Route 62 westbound. And then they had West Street northbound, West Street southbound. It's just how they're all labeled.
Yeah, because
that's
I think when I started, just remember hearing people talk, the 62 used to be West Street, and that Willow Road and Boylston Road were then turned into 62 at some point. I'm not sure. Tim, would you know?
Certainly after 67 that the change took place. So it'd be worth talking to the state to see if they've updated anything. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm just curious, because it sounds like go 45, slow down to 20 for the old 5 corners, and then go back up to 45 again.
Yeah, because that's I mean, it's drastic. Even coming into town, it goes right from 45 to 20 to come down the hill, and that's right at the crest of the hill at their driveway. There's no advance warning saying reduce speed ahead, and that's usually a sign put up that if it drops more than 10 miles an hour, they know it's there. I will reach out to them, or I will try to get somebody to call me back and see if anything's updated with them.
All right, so I think that's the last thing, the review of the street signs, and I think that's the last thing on our agenda for the night.
Good job.
37 minutes. I think after the last couple of meetings, I'll take a 37-minute meeting,
Oh,
especially seeing this is my third of the day. So,
oh. Yeah.
All right. So somebody want to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll move that we adjourn.
All right. Well, actually, let's set a next meeting date.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yep.
So now that we have this street sign request, what do we do with it where we just need one signature? Is there a box that I put this in so everyone can read it? Or do I? Is that something that we're just gonna like sit for a few days? Because it does say at the top of it, allow 30 calendar days from the date received by the highway department to process the request. I did reach out to her to let her know that we did receive it, just so she knows. And if I find anything out from MassDOT before our next meeting, I can add it into the email that we have going on. Will that work?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So so I'm looking at February 15th, at 5:30. Does that work?
That a Tuesday?
Yeah. Yeah, or if any other day works for the committee. I don't know if we're stuck on Tuesdays or what it's been in the past. It doesn't matter to me.
That'll work for me.
That's good.
All right, so we'll do the 15th at 5:30 for the next meeting.
And do we use the same link that we have today?
I'm gonna help Abby set up a link and we'll send it out.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I'll come up with an agenda and get that posted, and I'm sure I'll be relying on Mary to make sure I get it procedurally correct. And yeah, So, all right, so motion to adjourn until February 15th at 5:30.
Take care.
Thank
Right.
you, everybody.
Enjoy. Thank you.